Yeah, cool. We are recording from here on in, which is great. Okay, wonderful. So welcome everyone. The core of this, which I was explaining to some of the ladies, is we're going to do a quick roundtable of where you're all currently at, what questions you have, and then, hi Kelly's beautiful little girl, how you going? It's all good. That's the beauty of working from home. It's Easter holidays. And go through questions that you have, and so it's quite unstructured, but we'll open up and we'll get quite a structure. But the core is, what's your questions, where you're currently at, how can I help, and whatever you ask will help others as well. Quick. So I'll do a very quick intro. You've all told me. You've all told all of us what you do for business, but if you want to say one sentence just to reignite everyone's memory and then go in with your question. So I might start with, we'll start in order of who popped in today. So I'll start with you, Valerie. Is there a burning question that you have at this stage of where you're at with business? And just before I open it up to you, I may answer it, or we might share it in the group, or it might be something that would work better in a one-on-one session. So if that's the case, we'll discuss it. But go for it, Valerie, where you're at and what question you have.
Well, first of all, thank you for all the support you've given me so far. I'd just like to quickly acknowledge the Waka Waka people who are the traditional owners of the land where I am today, celebrating the fact that we are here and we are on land by our ancestors, and without them, I wouldn't be here today. So I'm an Indigenous life coach. Well, I'm just not just an Indigenous life coach. I'm a life coach, and the problem. And I graduated in March 2017. And I've had a lot of success with what we call pro bono clients, non-paying clients, but I don't have any success with paying clients.
Okay, all right.
That's my biggest problem.
Okay, great. So you're in that stage, and let me ask a question, because I know some of you guys are either in pre-launch stage or you have launched, and you're figuring out how to get your first couple of clients, or you've had clients and you're wondering how to get the recurring, consistent client work. So the challenge with that is figuring out if you have the foundational pieces of the puzzle in place to be able to bring in clients. So where we're at with Align Business Accelerator is that we've figured out, obviously, figured out the mindset piece. Wouldn't you love just to do one module and your mindset's right for life? It doesn't work like that. But we've talked about the foundation and how mindset is a big piece of it. Then we've gone on to work through what is your genius zone. And then yesterday we talked about ideal client. Now, the biggest piece that you might be missing, and what we're going to be doing next module, is what is it that you are actually selling people? What is your service? What's your package of service? What is it that people actually exchange money for and that you give service to? Now, it's quite hard in when we're working with clients to always let them know what it is that we do and what we're about. So it's figuring out, when we're discovering what our genius zone is and who our ideal client is, what are their problems and challenges, as in the ideal client, where are they currently at and where do they want to go? So what's the kind of transformation that they're seeking? So in your case, Valerie, I know that your ideal client is around Indigenous women who want to excel in life and their career and perhaps their well-being as well. So their current reality is they're not feeling great. I'm just going to use a very broad term. They're not feeling great in life and they want better outcomes. And they're not sure how to get from A to B. So they want to work with somebody who's actually travelled that journey before. And I know your background and how far you've come, and Valerie is actually underselling herself. Valerie's got degrees to the gazoo and has actually come so far in life and done so many wonderful things for her community. So it's about getting that message out there so that you're telling your story through your marketing messages, but then you're having a call to action, which is what your package of services are and creating a foundation and a link so that people can take action with booking a discovery call or downloading some kind of free content where they can get to know, like, and trust you more and build that relationship with you. So I feel, knowing your background, that you've been selling sessions by the hour, and often that, it doesn't always work, particularly in a coaching transformation business model that you have. You can't just sell one and then, exactly. So it's about articulating the value of the service. So in short, we're getting there. Is what we're going to be discovering in next module. And they all build on each other, because we can't really design our package of services unless we figure out what is it that we're really good at, what's our genius zone, what's our core sort of essence of our offering. And then we can't also build our package of services when we don't know who we're offering it to, which is the ideal client. Then it's about bringing that together so that when you offer it to the marketplace, through your marketing, through your promotion, through, the platforms like all the social media platforms, or even word of mouth, then you're speaking directly to one type of person about their problems and challenges and what they want to actually achieve, and delivering that product or the service that suits them specifically. And that's why speaking to that one ideal client is so powerful, because you can imagine when you're putting out, when you say, hey, I do, I'm a life coach, who for? How do you help people? What's your background? What are you good at? How could you help me? How is it relevant? There's so many questions, right? And the more questions people have in the buying journey, the more that they just back away. So if you can help them make a more streamlined decision to take some kind of action with you, whether it's downloading some content, engaging with you, following your Instagram or Facebook, and obviously in time buying from you, the more smoother that process is, the less questions that they have, the easier it is.
I'm with you. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, great. So we will move on to Miss Rach, who came in second. How about you? What's one of your biggest questions or challenges you have right now?
I think I don't have a question as such. I think I've had a challenge of having so many ideas and knowing where to start with them. And that's really evolved over the last very little while. And so now I can see things much more clearly in a bit of an order, which a little bit ties in with what you were just saying, that you've got to ask those questions and go through the process in a certain order to be able to have the whole picture. And something you just said as well then made me realize that probably what I'm doing that I hadn't put into words before is moving away from that practitioner that is known for doing a particular modality, and seeing clients by the hour and having that hourly and changing it to a different way of offering, I guess. So in fact, what I realized this week is to almost pretend that I'm starting from scratch. And if I was starting from scratch, then how would I set things out, or how would I operate, or how would I offer my offerings, if that makes sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. And let me add comment to that as well. I think I was saying this on the video, that the more directly we can speak to one type of person, you'll actually notice that the clients that you get are many and varied, because each of them will pick up something that you are saying that resonates with them. And there'll be something in how you are putting yourself forward, which what we want is the most authentic, aligned version of who we are to put forward to the marketplace. But the more focused we are with how we speak in our marketing messages and what our offering is, the more focused that is, the more that people actually take action. Because when it's so broad, human beings, we're a funny bunch. We get overwhelmed and confused when there's too much information in a marketing message or when you're having a sales discussion. When you can be quite specific, that's where you gain the most traction, i.e. get the most customers and sales and revenue coming into the business. But you can actually, and this is a bit of a perspective shift, this is something that challenged me early on. I thought that the more specific I was, the more narrow I was. What that would result in is actually not many people wanting my services. I thought if I go too focused, I'm going to not attract anybody. But it's actually the opposite. You actually attract a lot more people because there's much more of a clear, focused way to the market, and you'll attract lots of people. So it's being really clear on who are you? What is it that you do that you're really great at and that you love? Who do you help, your ideal client, knowing really a lot about them? And how does your offering combine all of that together? The more aligned and clear we can get that out to the marketplace, the more people will go, oh, great. And then as your business model grows, of course you can work with many different people and have lots of different products and services. But where we're at, we want to be able to, get revenue happening and grow the business, bring in clients, and then we can start to build out lots of different products and services. But in these earlier stages, the more aligned and focused we are, the better. Because you think of yourselves too, we're humans too. We talk about our clients like, how funny they are and how human nature is, but we're like that too. So if we've got so many offerings, we can be confused on, well, how am I going to market this one today? It's quite different to what yesterday was, and it confuses us as well as the market. Yeah, cool. All right, wonderful. And we had third coming on the line, Miss Tanya. So what are some of the questions that you have right now? The challenges?
I think you've answered some of them, actually. Can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Yep. Ours was about clarity of client, obviously. But the biggest thing we have is we're marketing consultancy. It's basically how much we should offer. Because marketing, is so broad. So we're just trying to, at the moment, understand how much we should offer a client. And at the moment, we're currently trying to put our website together. And we are struggling a little bit on how much we should put on there and what we should put on there and how we should structure it and things like that. So I'm not sure. I have a question, but
yeah, sure.
Yeah, so that's where we're sort of at. So, and also how we go about going forward and getting a couple more clients, regular work.
Yeah, great. Okay, wonderful. So just for everyone's benefit, Tanya and Kate are business partners, and they're starting their marketing consultancy together. So there's the link there. If I understand correctly, where you're currently at, and I know that you're pre-launch, you do have a client, or maybe two now?
Just one.
Just one? That's great. It's better than none. If you can get one client, you can get many, trust me. So you've got your client. I'm just going to reiterate what I heard so I understand correctly. You're building out your website, and the challenge you're finding is, well, how much do we share on the website? What is our offering? Who's our ideal client? And how do we actually reflect that in the website? Is that right?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So here's the thing. For all of us, including me, our ideal client and our offering will change over time. So whatever you pick now, it's not set in stone. And I'm not sure if are you having someone code the website, or are you building it out yourself?
We're just looking at Squarespace.
Oh, cool. Yeah, great. Excellent.
Yep.
That's a really good place to start. And the reason I ask that is because you're building it out yourself. You're not having to, check in. And I know, Valerie, you can relate to this. You're not having to say to coders, oh, okay, can you change that? And can you fix this? And it's a whole process that just does your head in, to say it in an informal way. So you can change and iterate and adapt that the more clear you become on who your ideal client is and what their offering and service is. And this is the thing, particularly where you guys are at, Emily and Simone and probably Valerie are all in quite the early stages, and Kelly and Rach are a bit more advanced in where they're at. but we're all, you know, we're all in on this journey together. But the reason I sort of separate out the two is that this first 6 months of your business is where you will learn who your ideal client is and what your genius zone is. So don't think for a minute that by doing the module and the workbook, that if you don't know the answer, you freak out and go, well, hang on a minute, I've done the work and I don't know what my genius zone or who my ideal client is. How can I do this? You only learn that by the first 6 or 12 months in your business. Would you agree, Rach and Kelly?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Look, I'm still pretty much in the first 6 months of my business. So,
cool.
Yeah, I would agree because that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Work that out.
I want to reassure you that, and this is what happened to me too, because I've had my first business and I went through that 12 months of figuring things out, and we discovered, funnily enough, it was AFL football clubs, who would have thunk it, and we designed our product and it all flowed from there. But now in my second business, I'm too going through that stage. So I'm in my first year of this new business that I'm doing. And every new business over the first 6-12 months, the only way to figure out who your ideal client is, what their problems and challenges are, what your genius zone is figuring it out over time. So just rest assured, take a deep breath, that you can change things in 6 or 12 months. What I want to see is that we don't fall into the trap of figuring out, oh my gosh, I have to know all of this or I can't get clients. You can get clients now and in the next 6 or 12 months, many clients, and then adapt and iterate as you go. And that's the important thing. Let's not fall into the trap of what a lot of entrepreneurs do, which is overwhelm and thinking they have to figure it all out before they actually go out and get clients. And Emily will know what I'm talking about, because we talk about this, is the whole design thinking methodology. Design thinking is about shipping, that's a term that's used, shipping your product or your service out there and making changes as you go. So we're not sitting and thinking about our business plan for a year and then taking our product or service out to market and hoping people like it. We're shipping, we're taking something out there now and we're adapting it and iterating it with the more feedback that we get from paying customers. And it's not to say that what you produce now, you may feel like it's going to be substandard to what you could produce in a year's time. And I know we're all service-based businesses, so when I say produce, more offer in terms of our services. But how would we ever know to make those changes unless we were actually selling and serving clients? Does that make sense? Yeah. So I want you guys to know that the selling process and working with clients is how you build and grow your business and how you actually go deep down on your ideal client and what your product or an offering is. So you'll probably look back in a year's time and go, oh, wow, isn't it funny that we were doing this? But you'll be helping people. You'll be serving clients to get a great outcome for them. You'll be learning and growing, and you'll be able to build as you go. So Tanya, that was a very roundabout way to touch on the subject you brought up. But
can I just jump in as well?
Yeah, please do.
Because in my experience over the years, there were things that I was very clear about that I wanted, certain areas or people that I wanted to work with, and then realised that actually no, I didn't. It wasn't what made my heart sing. And so often doing what we learn through what we don't want. Rather, if that makes sense, we say, actually, I don't want that. And then by elimination, we get clear about what we do want. And that doesn't happen by not having clients. You've got to have those clients to learn that along the way.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. And what that also shows me, Rachel, is that you have to have courage to do this, right? So it's human nature to sometimes think, well, especially in the society that we're being brought up in, I better get something perfect before I show anyone. If it's not perfect, I'm not doing it. And here's the thing with entrepreneurship and being a business owner, ain't nothing perfect, never. It's just not. Like, you will hold yourself back, and it is what a lot of people do in business. And let's be honest, in life, they hold themselves back because they have some unrealistic expectation of perfection in here, in the old noggin, in their mindset, that if it doesn't reach that, I'm not going to even put myself out there. I'm not going to promote myself, my services. I'm not going to help anybody. I'm just not going to do it. That's what differentiates us from people who do than people who don't. And it's not to say anything bad about people who don't. We're all on our life's journey, but it does take courage, and courage, you know, courage and fear are sort of combined together. We will feel the fear of putting stuff out there. But again, and this is what Rachel hit on so beautifully, let's not fall into the trap of thinking we need to design something perfect before we ship, before we put the product out there. Because you can learn things from me and you can learn things from the others, but the best wisdom that you'll get is through experience, your own experience. So you can learn things from me that I've stuffed up in the past, or things that I've been successful for, and also from others like Rach, and even yourself. You've got lots of wisdom, but the best wisdom comes from doing and having the experience. So it takes courage. So let's all just say how awesome we all are for being on the journey to be courageous to do it. And Tanya, to specifically speak about what you're saying, your ideal, the client that you've worked with now, what kind of work have you done with them so far?
So we just completed a marketing plan, and we're just about to be signing off on some implementation of that.
Woo! Okay, great. So stage A. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Well done. So he's a recurring client. Can we just all celebrate that? That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And this is the thing, when you start working with clients and you do a great job, which all of you either have the potential to do, and I say potential because maybe you haven't got your first client yet, or you all do have clients, you'll get recurring clients because they start to love you. And that's why it's getting those first handful of clients, and then you can build on from there and get referrals or ongoing work. So we're in probably the hardest part of the journey now, but we can push through that and it becomes amazing. So well done. So what I can see for you guys is you've got a stage, stage 1, stage 2, to put it really broadly. Stage 1 is let's create a strategy and a plan. And then stage 2 is we will help you implement it, correct?
Yep.
Great. So that shows to me that you've got a 2-stage process, which is really great because those 2 stages can mean many different things depending on the business or the business owner, right? So you want to be able to package your service as in stage 1, stage 2, and we'll come up with more of a sexier name than stage 1, stage 2, and you guys will nail that because you're marketing gurus. But let's create it so that it's a package with the 2 there, rather than we can help you with this and this and this and this and this. From the client's perspective, they just want to know that it's quite a seamless, easy process. And stage 1 helps them understand, well, let me ask you, what does stage 1 help them gain? What do they get from that?
Guidance and basically a planned approach to their marketing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so,
and obviously a strategic direction.
Okay, great. That's and also you'll notice with me sometimes I am kind, but I can be direct. So if I keep asking you questions, just roll with me, okay?
But also, sorry, just to jump in there, that the client we're talking about is an arborist. So in a industry that Tanya and I have never touched before in our life. I didn't even know what one was until probably a month ago. I'll be honest.
You got a tree, he's your man.
Exactly. That's all I got now. But in that instance, he knew some part about marketing, but he didn't understand the concept. So in terms of what exactly it was and what value we could add, I think that was the biggest thing to get across to him, rather than just these are all the things you need to do. And I think that's probably helped him get from stage 1 to stage 2, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah, great.
It's important to say that it's someone who knew nothing, or maybe knew bits about marketing, but didn't actually know how far they could go with it.
Awesome. So there you go. You're discovering your ideal client with that guy. And what that shows me, and this will help me give you guys a real life example, is for Kate and Tanya, their ideal client, you can frame it like this. They're a business owner. they want to grow their business, but they don't know how, and they think that marketing's got something to do with it. But just like you don't know about Arbory, me neither, they're the same with marketing. They're just like,
We do
I don't exactly, experts about it. So they're in the same boat of going, well, I've heard the term marketing and I think it's something to do with business, but I don't actually know what it is. So you've got to step into the perspective of your client and go, well, how are they perceiving things? What are they currently challenged with? And he's currently challenged with, I'm assuming, that he wants to grow his business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? He wants to get himself out there more. He wants more people picking up the phone going, do I have a tree for you to cut out? Yeah. So that's where he's currently at. So we need to then have our marketing message related to him. And in this case, it goes to show it doesn't matter what business he owns. So you'll be working with an arborist today. The next client you could bring on could be, I don't know, an education provider, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. It's about what current challenges that they have, where they want to go, and how does your stage 2 approach actually help them in a way that they go, oh, this speaks to my problems and it speaks to what I want to get. I want more strategic direction in my business. I don't want to just fly by the seat of my pants. I don't want to just wait for the phone to ring or be so busy with work and have done no sort of business development activity and then wonder where my next client is coming from. That's what's keeping them up at night, yeah?
Yeah.
So does that help answer that question a little bit?
Yeah.
Good. And
I
Kate,
think from his perspective, sorry.
no, go for it.
His perspective as well. He's got ideal clients as well that he's chosen to get more work out of as well. So it's about existing clients as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
So he's looking at government and things like that. Yeah.
And in your marketing, obviously, you'll be helping him identify who his ideal client is.
Yeah.
Who needs regular trees being maintained or cut out or whatever it is these arborists do, and who are the ones that more regularly call, as opposed to, say, mum and pop who have a tree and they may call an arborist once in their entire lives.
That's right, yeah.
Who's wanting that more work? What's their problems and challenges? What kind of transformation do they want? Now, the transformation that your clients want as opposed to Valerie's or Rachel's are very different, but they all want a transformation. Everyone who buys a product or service wants some kind of transformation, even as simple as, obviously I've just filled this up from the tap, but if I went and bought water, the transformation I want is not to have a dry mouth and to be hydrated, yeah? I'm looking for some positive outcome and I want some solution to what problem that I'm currently having. So that's what we need to start to step into our ideal client and know what is it in their life 24/7 that's having them there go, I want to buy this water and this is the reason I want to buy this water and this is the kind of outcome that I want. Now, they might not even know in some cases that they need your product or service. So when we just say I'm a marketing consultant and I do you pitch the word marketing in ways that they can't understand. I do audits and I do, strategies. Go, what does that even mean? What does that mean to me? They have limited care factor because it doesn't speak to their problems and challenges. We need to reposition the package of what you're offering in a way that goes, it's like she's speaking directly to me and that's exactly what I need because I've been sitting up at night going, I just need some more direction in my business. I want more clients. So in terms of your website, see if you can focus in a little bit more on using wording around who your ideal client is, what challenges they're having, what kind of transformation that they want, and therefore showcasing you guys. Also, what I want you to do on your website, talk about your credibility. So that's where we hold ourselves back a lot. Talk about your degrees, talk about all the corporate experience you ladies have had, talk about how you've helped clients when you were in corporate so that therefore it looks like you've got a lot of experience. Even though you've got one client in your business, you actually have helped loads of businesses with marketing. It's just been in the corporate setting. And I'm happy to have a review of whatever you guys do.
Thank you.
No worries. And following on that from that, Kate, is there anything you want to add or any question that you have around things?
It's probably not for now, but it may be something to throw out there. There's two things. I'm interested to know, obviously we are marketing, and obviously you're talking about clients need our service, but at the same respect, we have to market ourselves. So making sure that you get credibility for your own business as well as attracting clients. Does that make sense? So
No.
what we have to market ourselves as a
Yes.
company. We
Yes.
have to market
To get clients
ourselves.
to yourself. Yeah.
So I'm just interested to know, probably from what you've done in the past, and as I say, not maybe a forum from now, how you make sure that how you market yourselves to anyone comes across clearly and effectively.
Sure.
Because if we don't market ourselves correctly, then why would someone buy a marketing service?
Sure, true.
So
And it's funny because a lot of people say like mechanics are the worst at doing, fixing their own cars. Electricians are the worst at whatever it is. Our specialty is not always what we're great at. But it'll be good to see people, your prospective clients, see you out there in the marketplace, doing something that it aligns with what you're offering. So I guess the question is to you guys, do you want to have presence on Facebook or Instagram? Do you want to be writing blogs? Do you want to be putting yourself in publications? But then again, because you've got a broad market at this stage, you're wanting to narrow down in time. I would say the social platforms would probably be the way to go for now. And then as time goes on, when you're much clearer on who your ideal target market is, then you can publish in whatever kind of, channel that appeals to them. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But absolutely. I mean, don't slam yourselves doing a huge marketing campaign for yourself. You definitely want to focus on getting a couple of clients, and you'll be able to focus in on your network first. We're going to be talking about that, I think, in module 4 or 5, once we've designed your product and package of services. We're going to talk about how you can actually find clients first in your own network, and then what are ways that you can build up clients that are outside of your network. So does that help answer that?
Yep. No, as I said, it's really different.
Yeah. And in first stages, definitely look to your own network. That's how we got our first couple of clients, is people in our network. We just went around like crazy people and talked, look at Valerie's puppy. talked about what we did, and then they said, I know someone, and that's how we got into the footy clubs, actually. And then when you get into one, then you can build from there.
Makes sense.
And
the only other thing I wanted to throw out was more, I guess, feedback than anything. Obviously, from my perspective and Tanya's perspective, we are very early days, and I notice, I think, Kelly, you've got 2 kids there, maybe more. I'm interested to know or hear from people who and how they've managed, not necessarily just kids, I'm not just talking about that, how they've managed time effectively, because there's one module in there you talk about planning out a day. I have a 14-month-old child, and as much as I'd love to plan out my day, my son throws that upside down.
Sure.
I'm just keen to know, like Esther and I, we've spoken about picking days, and I just wondered if that's worked for other people, I guess. I'm just more interested to hear. I know it's a big topic.
I started studying when my youngest was about 12, 15 months old. In the first year, we got an au pair because I was working and I was studying, and my husband had his own business. So I knew just to do what I wanted to do that I had to get help in, because I couldn't get, I couldn't rely on my husband because of his business being, 12 months old. And that really got me through the hump. That's not, a viable option for everyone. But now my youngest is at kinder, my eldest is at school. And, you just got to, sometimes I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning getting stuff done.
Yep.
I find it really hard to do anything on the computer in the evenings. I'll see clients after hours, but I just can't get myself in front of the computer till midnight. I really struggle. So I tend to get up in the morning. But, you've got, you do have to sort of work out a schedule. Like my husband and I have mornings where it's my morning, so I can get up and do whatever I want. I don't have to worry about the kids or anything. I get up and I know that he's going to make sure that they're dressed and fed and ready for the day, whether I'm on my computer or whether I'm out exercising. And then the next morning he does that.
Yes,
So you've got to, and we do that on weekends as well. Saturday mornings are my mornings. I either see clients or I see friends or I exercise. And then he gets a Sunday morning to do what he wants. So sometimes you've got to, you do have to have some sort of schedule and not try and do it all yourself.
Yeah.
No. We fall into that trap, I think, of, trying to work full time, parent full time, set up a business that's full time, and that's what sort of, I was really mindful of, is that, I've done that. I've run myself into the ground not asking for help. So I wasn't going to do that again. I'm quite good at it now.
You go, girl. That's awesome. And obviously everyone knows I don't have kids at this stage, so I can't speak from that experience. But what I hear from Kelly and what I've heard from Simone, who's down at the bottom of the screen here, who's got a beautiful little girl as well, and obviously Valerie and Rachel, your kids are a lot more grown up. But I think what I hear is around segmenting. I think with a little one, sometimes it may be trickier to do it, but I think it's around, I think you mentioned that he's in care for 2 days, Kate, is that right?
Yeah, so I structure my days around, Harvey goes to care for 2 days. They're the 2 days that I specifically focus on that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be kids. I think, as Kelly said, I think it's important to be everything. And I think sometimes taking my child out of it, I think that I have to do some of that stuff. And actually, you're never going to get a business up and running effectively if you're trying to do 50 other things. I appreciate that. And I think, like I said, I've got to be honest about it and say, I've got to stop those things for this to work. Otherwise, you're not going to get anywhere. So, I appreciate that.
It is prioritizing, very much so.
Yeah. And if you need permission from anyone, I'm giving it to you now. Because I think sometimes we feel like we need some kind of permission to focus in on our business, right? So you've got 24 hours in a day. You've got your well-being, you've got your little baby, you've got a marriage, you've got kids, you've got family. There's so many things that can dominate that 24-hour period. But it's up to us and go, right, what are our priorities? So I hope for all of us that to a degree our self-care and our well-being is actually number one, because as we know, and many of us know this from experience, when that starts to fall, everything does. So this is being strict and actually self-care. A lot of what I've understood about self-care is actually boundaries. So self-care to me is around saying, as Kelly said, my boundary between 9 and 3 on Tuesday, I'm doing work. It's, pretend I'm at my corporate job because I'm doing work. And husband, if you really need something, if it's an emergency, I might be able to help because I've got flexibility of my own business. But otherwise, I'm in startup mode, and between 9 and 3 or whatever your hours are, that's my clear boundaries. And the person that needs to respect those boundaries the most, ourselves. Because as soon as we start to push the boundary, okay, I'll do it. Other people go, great. Oh, yeah, cool, she'll do it. And then we get shitty, excuse me, I swear sometimes, we get shitty at other people for pushing our boundaries, but we've actually let them.
Yeah.
And I think working from home muddies the water as well. Like I've had to really let go of that, sort of sitting 2 rooms away from the laundry where, there's, 5 loads of washing and dishes in the sink and stuff. And, my clients come to me in my home, but, I just need them to look down the hallway and see.
Close those doors.
They don't care about what's at the
Hope
end.
the washing doesn't fall out.
They're never going to go there. But I struggle with sitting in the house and thinking, I could just quickly put a load of washing on while I'm, doing this. And then it beeps at the end. And then you think, I'm just going to quickly hang it out, or I'm just going to quickly this, or I'm just going to quickly that. And before you know it, you've spent 20-30% of your time doing things that you wouldn't do, as you say, if you were working in an office.
No, That's right.
What I find really hard about working from home is
We fall into that
that-
trap.
you know, there's not that line in the sand. You know, when I
Yes.
used to go to an office, I didn't think about the washing.
No, because it wasn't next door. But also,
I didn't care that I left all the breakfast dishes on the
yeah,
bed.
you were like, excellent. But let me tell you, when you were in an office, and this is me speaking from my experience, you would have found other things to self-sabotage. You
Yeah.
would have gone to get the coffee, or, you know, Kate and I worked together a million years ago. You know, I'm just going to go and speak to Esther in this department and have a chat, or whatever it is. So what it is it's human nature. We're self-sabotaging because we want to feel comfortable a lot of the time. That's just how we're wired. So the more we know about this, the more we can actually hack our own brain, not literally, but figuratively. So we want to feel comfort a lot of the time. And doing the washing and doing that thing is actually a lot more, believe it or not, comfortable for us than figuring out how to do our marketing or do the Facebook Live or things that are outside of our comfort zone, like getting clients and building a business. They're uncomfortable, right? And then you've got the comfortable things of, well, I'll just do this for my husband and I'll do the washing and whatever. So if anything, an activity I can ask you to do is list out the things that you feel comfortable doing in business and life. It doesn't mean you enjoy them. Like, who enjoys washing? I don't. If there's any of you crazy ladies on here, you can come and do mine. So it doesn't necessarily mean you enjoy them, but they're easy. You just do them, and they're the go-to when you are trying to tackle something on the list that's uncomfortable. So without even you knowing it, you go, I'll just do that. But you got to stop and go, hang on a minute, brain. I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to find comfort, and I get it. But what's actually really important to me is this priority. My priority today, my must-do item, is to write the about section on my website, or to call and follow up that client, or to email the 10 people I want to come to my women's circle in 2 weeks, or whatever it is that we need to specifically get done today, which will help drive and grow our business. I want you to pick at least one thing every day that drives your business, that makes you feel uncomfortable. And I can help coach you through figuring out how to find some comfort and joy in it as well, because we don't want everything in our business to be uncomfortable and unjoyous. But we need to flex the muscle of having the strength to go from I'm just going to avoid discomfort and go to the comfort. That's a big switch of boundaries, of doing shit that we don't want to do but actually helps our business, and hacking ourselves from doing the washing and whatever it is that's the comfortable thing. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's an activity. That's sort of like a thing that I want all of us to do, including me, and we can have a quick 1 minute talk in a fortnight to see how we all went with it.
Mm-hmm.
List out what's the stuff that is your go-to comfort activities.
Mm-hmm.
What's your, I know I need to do them, but they're really uncomfortable activities. And swap one thing every day. Make sure you tackle one of those things that's a business generating thing, right? Something that grows and builds your business. That's why we're all here. And if it means that you didn't get the washing done today, and you actually called the client and got the client or wrote the proposal, you'll feel so much better for it. And you can reward yourself afterwards and do the washing then. No, we're going to figure out much better rewards when you guys get clients, let me tell you that. But
I want to structure that in now. Like I have the days where I'm completely child free, and I do try and have it in my head that I don't actually do washing or anything on those days.
Good.
Sometimes I don't even cook on those days, but I'm busy. I've got other things to do.
You're building a business. That's right.
Friday, Saturday, Sundays, I do the washing.
That's it.
And I'll do anything urgent.
Crazy weekends, exactly.
Oh, it's so exciting.
Saturday nights. Whoop, whoop. So let's all focus in on that. The next person I want to go to, we've covered, is Simone. What is a question or challenge that you're having right now, Miss Simone?
Hello. I just wanted to firstly say thank you for sharing your genius with us.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. You're welcome. Thank you.
Really, absolutely love doing the course. I feel like I'm a little bit different in that I am a hypnobirthing practitioner. So I've got a very specific course that I present, and I've got a very specific target audience. So a mum or pregnant woman who's 20 to 33 weeks gestation, generally someone who is interested in understanding what's happening to her body, and someone who's probably more into natural therapy. So I've found my issues or my challenges have been more around things like me not being a midwife. So I have done the course myself to birth my beautiful daughter, but I'm not a midwife. So I don't have the same experience as some of my peers. So I really enjoyed the Finding My Genius section, because that really made me reflect about what I do have to give and why I'm different and what sets me apart from other companies doing similar things. And my other challenge, I think, that I'm finding now, because I'm really just sort of starting in the marketing side, is that I'm in quite a remote area, so I don't have networks there.
Join the club.
Join the club, yeah.
Join the
Valerie.
club.
Far North Queensland.
Yeah.
Oh, right. So I've sort of started doing things like going to the main street and literally going in and giving my business cards and introducing myself and that sort of thing. And I got my first client, which is awesome. I'm so excited. Yay!
Oh my God. I'm so excited. Well done,
Yeah,
darling. Well done. I'm calling her darling. I know Simone quite well. So well done. That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Really
So clients are coming on. You wait as the weeks and months go on. We're going to celebrate all of you guys getting clients. Well done.
Yeah. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm so pleased to hear that. So if I can just, first of all, congratulate you. Well done. Second of all, your very first challenge or topic that you brought forward is something common, I think, for all of us. And let me reiterate it so I can paint the picture. It is I've done some kind of qualification, but I look to other people who've done that qualification and they have so much more than me and they can offer so many things. So I'm not going to be very good at it and I'm just going to sit here. Not saying that you're sitting here, but that's what can happen to us, right? So for example, knowing Rach and Kelly, they're kinesiologists, and having had work from Rach before, she's helped me on some emotional levels that a psychologist could help me with, right? Is Rach a psychologist? No. Is Rach has she got a naturopathy course or whatever it is? No. But she's helped me with my physical, mental, emotional and spiritual well-being over the years. And I've come to her because I know, like, and trust her, and she helps me and it's amazing. And she's got so much skill, wisdom, experience through her qualifications and the work she does with clients, but also through her life experience. So Rach is one of the most nurturing people I know, and she's a really great mum. And Simone, you're a really great mum, and you've actually hypnobirthed your child. So you're coming from real life experience. And you're a very intelligent woman. You've got also degrees left, right and centre. And people want to buy from. So hypnobirthing, whatever the academy is called, I don't know what it's called, but they wouldn't be training up people if they, same with kinesiologists, same with coaching, they wouldn't be training people up if it wasn't the right process. Does that make sense? When I have a baby one day, I don't necessarily want to have a traditional midwife. It's just not something I want. I want to work with someone who is intelligent, who's got really good nurturing skills, who's actually certified in the kind of birth that I'd like to have. That's what me, as your potential ideal client, is looking for. So if I see someone like you out in the marketplace and I fall into your ideal client category, do you think that I would rather work with you or potentially someone who is a midwife but doesn't have that factor that I like in somebody? I will pick you, yeah? And I know it's because we know each other, let's pretend that we don't. So I guess what I'm saying, in the hundreds, thousands of people that are available to us in the spaces around us, and then let's throw in millions of people when you add in Facebook advertising, there's so much abundance of people to work with, and there'll be some people who just are so driven about working with you and some people who are so repelled as well. This is the thing, we need to be cool with that. There'll be people who'll watch my Facebook lives or any of your sort of promotional stuff and go, oh, No thanks. And that's okay. I'm okay. I'm getting okay with that. I must admit that's still a bit of a challenge for me to think that someone couldn't possibly like me. I mean, come on. No, but you've got to, it's about figuring out that there is a market for you and there are people who want to work with you. And again, not fall into the trap. Can you see how many entrepreneurial traps there are if we let ourselves fall down? And one of the entrepreneurial traps is, I don't have this, I don't have that, I don't have this, I don't have that, so I'm not going to do it. We're not going to fall into that trap. You're already certified, you've got great experience, you've got an authentic, real story to tell. And this is for all of you, are all qualified in your space. I know each and every one of you have got certifications or qualifications in your space. There's lots of people who are saying, sure, I can coach you on something. I hope no one's saying that they can help birth someone without any kind of qualification, but there are people out there who do stuff that have nowhere near the kind of qualifications and experience that all of you ladies have. And unsurprisingly, my ideal client is someone who is well certified and has got great skills and strengths. That's why, you know, you're all here, right? I don't want to work with people who go, oh, I saw it once and I think I can do it, and I'm just going to, you know, they've probably got a lot of false confidence, but not a lot of actual skills and strengths. You ladies have that. If anything, all of us need to bolster up our confidence a little bit. Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. What do you think, Simone?
I think you've summed it up beautifully, Esther.
And I speak from experience. And Emily, share with me where you're at and what any challenges that you've got going on at present.
Yeah, so I've had my business for probably about a year or so now, but what I'm finding really struggling with is getting paid clients. And I've had a lot of people tell me I'm too expensive. So that's been my biggest struggle so far.
Okay, cool. And the feedback that you're getting, how are you getting this feedback? Are you taking them through the stage of having a discovery call of some sorts and pitching your work, and then they turn around and go, oh, no?
No, so they usually message me on Facebook and they ask if they can learn more about a service. So I send them my packages and a bit more of what I do in detail. And then they say it's too expensive and it's out of their budget. I do try and book a free consultation call with them, but they just don't seem to be interested.
Okay, that's interesting. So that would have been my response, is to book them into a discovery call, because, and I'll share in a minute how to do that in a way that can be a little more effective. But often what happens is when people, they start to see your marketing messages, and Emily's been doing a really good job on consistent marketing, which is what I want all of us to work towards in the next couple of modules once we've figured out a few foundational pieces. So if you want to check out Emily's stuff, she does a really good job. Well done. And what people will start to reach out to you, because they'll go, oh, what's this lady doing? She seems like she knows what she's talking about, and she's got a cool brand, or, you know, I like the sound of it and I'm her ideal client, etc., etc. So they'll reach out to you. And if we go, okay, here's my information, then we can lose a lot of traction, because the beauty of sales in a business, particularly in the early stages, so when we're in a later stage of our business, we can design products and services that we can sell without having any interaction with us, but that's down the track. So we're not going to skip there. We're going to stay in this part of when we've got someone interested, we want to book them into some kind of discovery call, whether that's a face-to-face meeting or a discovery call on the phone like I've done with all of you. And we want to be able to invite them in a way that sounds super appealing to them rather than just a sales call. And we want to be able to use that session with them to really discover and uncover what their challenges are and what kind of, you know, where they're currently at, and kind of try to get an idea of what they're looking for, and then showcase your offering, linking in specifically with that. So I wonder, and I can...
Attention. Testing of the fire system will commence.
Can you hear that?
Disregard all alerts and times. Testing of the evacuation fire system will commence. Please disregard all alerts and times.
Disregard it, but it's still going to make a big sound. So if it makes that sound again, I'll stop. So what I was saying was the process of when they get in touch with you, how do you say, would you like to book in for a call? Talk me through the process that you currently have.
So I reply to their message on Facebook. I send them a link to my website. I send them more information on my service. And then I will say something along the lines of, I'd love to...
The nearest exit and evacuate in an orderly manner. Please proceed to the nearest exit and evacuate in an orderly manner. Please proceed to the nearest exit and evacuate in an orderly manner.
I think it's working, guys. I'm just going to put mine. Okay, go for it. Yep, keep going. So you send them your services on the website?
Yeah, and my packages,
Attention, testing is complete and the system back to normal. I repeat, testing is complete and the system back to normal. Thank you.
Okay.
Valerie, thank you for sending that message. There is no fire, thankfully. It's just a test. You're probably wondering, why is she just sitting there smiling?
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Get out. No, thank you, though. Yep, go for it, Emily.
Yeah, so I say something along the lines of, I'd love to book you in for a free consultation call where I talk about how I can help you and, how investing in an event planner is a really good investment, but they just don't seem to be interested.
Okay,
I don't know if that's how I'm wording it.
Yeah, I dare say, and I say this with all love and respect, I dare say it is how you're wording it, and that's okay because you don't know what you don't know, right? And it's the beauty of us being all here together. So there is a more effective process, and I'll share that in the group. I'll get a message that I use that you can sort of tailor to make your own and use that instead. But the whole thing is you want to shift people from the idea that this is a sales call to, I can help. This hour is actually about providing something of benefit to you. So it could be, that you call the session and we can come up with something cool in one of our one-on-ones, but it's something around the lines of, let's co-create your wedding plan together in this call, and we'll make up some sexy name for it. So for example, when people book in with me, they're booking in for a business builder session, and we're having a session where we talk through where they're currently at with their business, what they want to have, what are the steps to get there, and you provide some really lovely value to them in that call, which helps answer some of the questions that they have. And then they're more likely to build that know, like, trust factor with you and want to work with you, and not straight away just outsell themselves of a service because they see a price that's too big, because they don't, if they say it's priced, they just don't understand the value of it. I mean, for some people it might be too expensive, full stop, but a lot of that is an objection around that they don't see the value in it. So it's not clear enough for them, and it's not clear enough because they haven't had some kind of experience with you.
Yeah.
So people buy when they've had an experience with you in a call or whatever it is that you guys are all offering. So let's tailor down what we can call your session and how we can word it in one of your one-on-one calls. And I'll share in the group too how to actually put out that message. Some of you, it might be too early for that, but you can bank that for later.
Esther, can I just jump in and say, it might help, Emily, might not.
Sure.
But the same respect from Tanya and my point of view is that we've actually taken the cost out of it for now and had that discussion to start with. So spent an hour with a client to actually understand where they're at, what marketing they've done, etc., and then come back with the proposal. Because like Emily, we also, like in an event point of view, some people do just look at that price and then do turn away. And actually by spinning it on its head and I guess getting what they want out of something and then putting a cost to it, I think we've opened people's eyes up to what value we can bring to it and taken the cost out of it. Because you could put a figure on it, but actually they might be set, especially in an event point of view, I suppose, set on I can only spend X. And then they'll switch off from you straight away because you're out of their budget. even though they probably can afford you. They just don't want to admit it. So I've just found that from Tanya and my point of view, we've taken cost out and spent an hour with a client to actually understand that bit first and then tailored the cost to them, I guess. I don't know if that helps. I just thought I'd let you know from what we've sort of thrown out there. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it works, but I'm just saying as an example.
Sure. And it can often be, I really like that response, Kate, thank you. It can often be too that you could have a couple of package of services, and if you talk them through the one that fits them best. But if money is really an issue, then you can talk about the light version of your offering or whatever it is. Or, as Kate said, you might get a proposal or sort of create in your mind a package there on the spot, which puts through this component, this component, this component, but lets go of those other components that aren't relevant to them and create like a tailored package. But it's about looking at, again, what I was saying to Tanya and Kate, what is your components of your offering, and how can you sort of mix them in a way that would suit a specific client. Now, I'm a big fan of having a set package of services, but I also recognise that in our early stages, we need to be flexible with that. So we don't want to say no to clients. So I just got in touch with a Facebook ad specialist, and she had one offering that was way out of my budget in terms of where my business is at this stage. And she's like, I really want to work with you, but I actually don't have anything. And then she email me back later that day with something that may suit me, and I'm considering it. So it's sort of like having a couple of levels of offerings for people. And I know with Rach and Kelly, this could work quite well with you. There'll be some people that will flat out just want to have session by session, but then there'll be some of those people who actually want a package of services that might have sessions, mists, different things over a period of time, maybe some workbook modules, whatever it is. And we can talk about that when we have one-on-ones with you to build out something specific to them. But I can share something with you, because if you're getting leads and interest, which is really good. And in our one-on-one session, I can jump a couple ahead of the modules for you to help, so we can get some clients in for you. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Awesome. Excellent. Now we are at time, but is there anything, any burning question or anything that people want to add at this stage?
I just wondered, is it a bit premature for me to do the discovery calls, do you think, Esther? Because I've never done a discovery call, I've never set one up. I'd like to.
Yeah, and you will be. I'll tell you for free. Maybe a fraction. I'd like you to be clear on your offering first.
Sure.
I think with you specifically, I mean, Emily, she's got her package of services and she's been promoting for a while. Let's nail down a little bit more, and that's cool. I love the enthusiasm, but let's nail down on the ideal client Genius Zone next week's package of services. But I think that you've booked in a call with me for tomorrow. I think it would be really cool to get down to a deeper level on both your Genius Zone and your ideal client. That'll help us build the product and then be more clear about the discovery calls.
Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. No worries.
I just sort of haven't had my little turn.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Kelly. I don't know why I had it in my head that you had. I've got to admit that I made a mistake there. I'm really sorry.
That's all right. I'll be really quick. I don't feel like I've got a question. It's more an observation, and it possibly, and it does sort of lead into some of the things that were previously said, particularly when Rachel was talking about like working out who your clients are. My background's commercial real estate, and I was, quite liked that, and sort of, had to be sort of clawed out of the industry. So there was a lot of sort of identity around being a successful corporate woman. And then, of course, I had a couple of kids and they decided that's not what they wanted me to be. So that's, that's fine. But, I thought my ideal client was a corporate woman who I knew and understood, and, maternity leave, going back to work, juggling family, all of that sort of stuff. I thought for sure that is exactly who I am. That is the type of clients I'm going to attract. And I have got this. Boom. It was just too easy. And I haven't had one corporate client.
Ah, interesting.
Not
Yeah.
effing one. So, I mean, and it's totally fine, but I've got, you know, like all my Facebook stuff, like I've got to change that because it's all just about corporate women. And I even joined She Will Shine.
Oh, yeah.
Because one of my friends was very much involved when that sort of founded, and that was great, but they just weren't interested. So now the majority of my clients are adults dealing with childhood trauma
Ah, interesting.
and kids.
Okay.
You know, so I haven't done module 2 yet. I've done the video and I've read through it, and you know, I'm actually going to find that quite challenging because, you know, who am I? Well, I'm not a corporate woman anymore. You know, I'm quite good with trauma, and you know, difficult things aren't difficult for me.
Sure.
I don't know, emotional stuff, I can deal with the heavy stuff and not, you know, not be bogged down by it more than the average person, I suppose. You know, but I've got to look at the clients that I'm attracting and the reason why I'm attracting them.
Yeah.
And I love working with them.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, my one-on-one session with you is, you know, I sort of maybe struggle to define myself in that way. Like, these people are coming to me for a reason. And I know what my childhood trauma is, and it's not, you know, abuse or anything dreadful like that. You know, trauma is a very different sort of thing. It's about, you know, being a very different person to the rest of the family and not being understood and not feeling, you know, heard and all of that sort of stuff. And I think a lot of people can, you know, relate to that. But we all have that sort of, not all, but a lot of people have that defining moment in their life that, you know, things sort of, you know, build up on top of. And they're the sort of clients that I'm seeing, and I'm seeing them for a reason. But I feel challenged in maybe putting my story out, because I don't know if I even really understand it myself. And then I also think my poor mum and dad.
and this is the thing, identifying where we're currently at, because we all have past identities and more sort of renewed or common, you know, today present identities is what I'm trying to say. And going a little bit deeper on that might be the exact reason why you're attracting this kind of client. And if you're seeing a theme in terms of your clients and the challenges and issues and what keeps them up at night is quite common, and you're able to help them with a certain transformation, that's a really good, clear indicator that you're onto something. Do you enjoy it? Do you enjoy working? An ideal client is definitely people who are coming to you, but you've got to want to enjoy working with them as well.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
So that's really good. I think you're narrowing down your ideal client, and you're right. It might be about shifting some of your marketing messages now. And dare I say too, maybe accepting it. Maybe there's an acceptance around, you know, dropping some of the layers of your corporate identity. And I can relate to that too. You know, it's something that we hold up. You know, I'm well educated and I'm a corporate woman and I've done this stuff. And, you know, our feminist forebearers, that's what they've been pushing us to do. And we're really so grateful for it. But it's also then identifying that we're coming more into our femininity, and we are stepping into doing work that aligns with our passions and skills, and owning that element of what we're doing as well. So there could be something in that.
Yeah, I've definitely dropped the corporate identity, and I'm comfortable around that. It's just, it's interesting when you go in and think, you know, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah. Totally.
You know,
that's a classic example. And I think, Rach, you mentioned something along the lines too. You thought it was this person, and now it's actually that, and you wouldn't have known it if you didn't have the courage to have your first year of business. So well done. That's awesome. And we've got a lot of real data and real experiences to be able to, you know, flesh that out and pull it apart in our session that you've booked. So that's awesome. Cool. Excellent. Well, I want to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you for being on the call. I can see that there's every question that each of you have had or a challenge you've had, that every one of you is sort of going, oh, yep, that relates to me. And that's the beauty of these calls, that we can all learn from each other, be inspired by each other, encourage each other, support each other, and have someone ask a question that either we were wanting to know or we didn't even know we needed to know. And then we heard everyone's response and thought, that's awesome. So I want to thank you for your courage and commitment to being on the call. I can't wait for our second one. And I'm here for you. If you want to share any of your wins, or if you want to continue this conversation on in any way in the Facebook group, that's there for as well. So you're welcome to interact and ask me questions specifically. And yeah, big thank you. So have an amazing couple of weeks. The next module is actually going to be, so there's 3 modules per month. So now we've just had 3. There's a catch-up week. Because there's 12 modules run over 16 weeks. So we've got a catch-up week now. So if you haven't had a chance to do any, next week is your week to catch up on things. Or if you want to book in a one-on-one session with me next week to fill that gap for you and go a little bit deeper. And I know that it feels so exciting to jump to the next thing, but do take advantage of these extra implementation weeks to go down a little bit deeper on stuff and allow some time to process information. Go for it, Valerie.
Oh, sorry. Did you realise Mod 3 videos not available?
Oh, really? That's interesting. The one from yesterday.
Yes.
Oh, thank you for letting me know that, because when I tested it, it was fine. So let me jump in there today and have a look at that, and I'll alert you guys in the group. And if I'm having trouble, I have to wait till I get home to see my IT husband help me fix it. So it might not be straight away. Thank God for in-house IT. I've got the VIP package. So I'll let you guys know on how I go with that. Thank you for letting me know.
No worries. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great week, and be in touch. Book in your sessions if you need it. You've got 3, so you don't have to use one now. And be in touch with me via the Facebook group and ask a question in the open audience like you are here. If you've got any question, ask it in the group and we can all learn and share. Sound good?
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
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 Bye. Thanks, ladies. Bye.
Bye.